welcome to the Comedy Studio Podcast,
The only podcast. Was that
I'm
good?
your host, Danny Hatch. What's that? My other host, Eli Levy.
Was that good? Did I do good?
I think you know that you purposefully didn't do good on that one.
Oh, that wasn't good. I'm a bad boy.
You shouted it not into the mic and off tempo. You are a bad boy, and you deserve every punishment coming your way.
Oh, my roommate's gonna kick my ass today.
Give him a mulligan.
Eli, how you have not been introduced yet? Eli, how's it going? How's your week been?
It's been good. Been pretty nice. We, me and my girlfriend went to the beach. Socially
Let me,
distanced.
We agreed we're not going to mention her again on the podcast.
Me and my friend went to the beach.
Oh, good. What gender is your friend?
It's not for me to say, you know?
Okay, good. That was the right answer. It was a trick. It's just us fellas today. We were going to have Roger Stone on the podcast. That was going to be huge. Roger Stone emailed me and said, I would like to be on your podcast. I will reveal everything. No holds barred. And then on Saturday, he called me and canceled for some reason. Said there was no reason for him to share everything now. So instead, we've got Rick. Rick is back on the podcast. Welcome back, our special guest, Rick Jenkins.
Hello.
Not looking at the screen or doing anything.
I'm making notes on what's being said.
Why?
Because I want this to be entertaining. I have questions.
Entertaining?
You want this one to be entertaining.
We're gonna be entertaining? Can those words
So
be used together in a sentence like that?
Where was this spirit the last 53 episodes of his podcast? And you haven't taken a single note, to my knowledge.
Yes, you just haven't been calling me out on it.
Okay, what did your notes say?
I always have my notes.
Okay, for every episode of his podcast?
The
you
notes
take
just say "kill Danny."
I always
Well,
just
why
scribble down
wouldn't
notes.
you? Why wouldn't you make that? Please let me know. That would be some. I'm happy you did now, so we can talk about it. Why would you withhold that from us?
Well, actually, today is non-binary identification day, and it made me think. Eli said girlfriend, and you go, yeah. Well, is girl a little dismissive, a little diminutive?
It's
You say
completely
woman
up to the
friend, there's
person
not-
in
If
question.
you say girlfriend, there's the assumption that there's a romantic relationship. But if you say woman friend, there's an assumption that there isn't. So is there a term for significant other that's not?
Significant other,
That's
partner is generally used, but also
Partner.
it's 100% up to the person in question.
I call Rosa daddy, but that's just our thing.
I call every single one of my roommates
well,
daddy, and I don't know
Rick,
if that's appropriate.
I'm very thrilled to hear you've been taking notes. And I'd like to make this a regular part of the show now.
And a lot of comedy clubs are now rewriting their intros so it doesn't say ladies and gentlemen because that's so antiquated.
All of it.
They should
Well,
start
speaking of
rewriting their intros
intros-
for the comedians before they rewrite that intro. I've
You've
heard so many
him
horrible intros for comics coming up to the stage from
be
different
like trying to
clubs.
intro Brett. You've heard him giving the intro in the God booth on the God mic in the booth. Please welcome his first appearance since episode 9 of his podcast. Welcome back, Brett Kohler, to the show.
Hey.
Hi, Brett.
People of Earth instead of ladies and gentlemen.
What gender do you identify as, if you are comfortable saying?
Man-child?
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
There are so many implications.
We're all here. We're all
True.
having fun. It's going to be a low-stakes show, guys. We've had a couple real long ones, and I'm thinking this one's going to be a nice, 49 to 58-minute range. How's that? How's that work for everyone?
We just go
Leave the
until Facebook
listeners.
says, please stop.
Oh, have they
No.
said that?
Not yet, but that's the goal, isn't it?
Brett, we haven't spoken to you on this podcast since February 2019. What's new with you? Catch us up.
February 2019.
Yeah, what's changed in your life since? Anything big? Any big changes?
I haven't drank in over a year. Alcohol, that is.
Hey.
In a year,
Oh,
wow.
All
Right.
cheers to that, my friend.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
There you go, Danny. Have it. No, do your thing, man.
Can I
Those,
take some in my mouth and then spit it into the camera so maybe some of it dribbles down onto your video screen?
I'm not one of those people. You drink whatever you want. I'm not
Yeah.
going to stop you. You're the only, as they say, you're the only one that's going to stop you.
Yeah, I bet
That-
it will.
That and medical conditions.
Yeah, both of them. Myself and medical conditions work.
Well, in a way, a medical condition
years.
is
And a
your
very kind
body
girlfriend.
stopping you.
And a very kind girlfriend. That's good.
Yes,
That's
that
key.
really helps. Yes.
Do you call her daddy as well?
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
She prefers girlfriend.
Aha. Oh, okay. Good.
She prefers Jessica, I think, most.
Yes, Jessica, of course, who is
Oh,
working
I'm naming.
with us.
I'm naming names now. Damn it.
I don't know if this is the right term, but from my research, is a not anyone that you would refer to as a daddy, but is not necessarily identifies as a man. You would refer to them as a zaddy with a Z.
Zaddy.
Yeah. A non-binary daddy. Yeah.
Well, Rosa specifically said none of that PC bullshit in my house.
And then you're like, yes, daddy.
She said, you call me daddy, you get the fuck out. So, yes, daddy. Oh, here we are, another week. How we feeling, folks? I've got nothing planned, but promo for our show coming up. So other than that,
Yeah,
it's
Brett said he had a
playground.
list ready.
Usually I have a list ready, but usually I'm trying to impress our guest. And no offense, but I don't feel the need to impress any of you. Now,
I'm
the
so
listener
impressed.
might be listening to this and saying, well, what about me? Shouldn't you be trying to impress me? And you're probably right. But there's a reason that this podcast hasn't taken off yet. And that's because we do it our way. So when do you three talk? I've said enough for the next couple minutes.
Okay,
I mean,
I'll pick it up. I've always been interested. Like Brett, when you first came to the studio, it was because Kirsten said that you had so much experience with sound equipment. Was that basically on your musical background?
Yeah, I would say so. I didn't do a lot of stuff like that in the last few years leading up to the studio, and I dealt with mostly because I'm 47, I was dealing mostly with analog stuff back in the 90s and stuff like that, maybe early 2000s. So the game's changed a lot. I think Kirsten might have built me up a little bit to you. I know at the time they just needed what happened at the time, actually, if you don't mind me indulging for a second.
No, please.
I had a friend over at Improv Boston, and I had just met somebody who used to work for the Comedy Studio, and I was talking to them. I'd come to a couple shows at the studio, and this person said to me, "Hey, we're looking for a sound person in IB." And I mentioned that to our former employee, and they were like, "Hey, we need somebody. Why don't you come over there?" And I just kind of had a preference towards the studio, and I was like, "Yeah, that's where I want to be."
What was it that gave the studio the edge?
Just being the studio. I mean, a really good friend of mine down in New York, his name is Pat O'Shea, used to do the studio way back when it first started, and he always told me, "You got to go to the studio. You got to go to the studio. You got to see DJ Hazard." And all this stuff. And I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll go there. He knows about comedy more than I did at the time. So,
Deej. When are we going to get Deej on one of our shows, Rick?
Oh, good question. I'll ask. I will make a note.
Make a note.
Let's get a note check-in. Where are we at now on the notes?
Oh, I got plenty.
the note
We've
is
been
to make a
recording for
note.
9 minutes now. Let's see those notes, baby.
It's funny that when at the studio, I don't know when they started doing it, but when I got there, they had already moved all the sound equipment into the manager's booth, so we didn't. Our expertise with it didn't even matter anymore at that point.
No.
They just put it all in the office, and we had to have Hong Kong Jessica change the levels for us upon request.
I had to get the manager to change levels in the middle of a comic.
But what was great about all the managers at the Hong Kong was they were trained in comedy audio levels, so they really knew.
And they knew that all levels should be set to 0.
That slider too. Yes,
I used to hate it.
They all the sliders down to mute because they fucking hated us.
They were always so busy. You didn't want to bother them, but you're like, the show's got to go on here, folks. We got to turn the volume up.
Mm-hmm. And now, what was the reason? So, because I also came on board after the mixer had been locked away. What was the reasoning there? Why was the mixer locked in an office?
The DJs were blowing out the sound system, so they just said, fuck it, we're taking it.
It actually was not us that were.
They took the amp and everything. Because I think what happens is, they have a maximum on their sound system, but then the DJs also have their independent controls, which just blew the volume right out of the system. So, yeah, that was a pain. That happened about, I would say, a year and a half after I started. So probably around 2015, I think, is when we lost the mixer. Three of the 4 channels worked on it.
Rick, how hard did you fight to keep that mixer in the sound booth?
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
I'll cut Brett's balls right off.
Yeah, as long as the microphone makes us sound louder. I mean, that room was so small, you really didn't even need the mic.
Well, certain people.
Well, there were a bunch of times where we had to raise the level for some reason.
It depends. Some people kind of whisper, and that's just their style,
Yeah.
and they just need more juice.
Yeah, and also it was set up as a dance club, so the speakers were about 10 feet inside the walls, and then pointed towards the center point.
Mm-hmm.
So where you were in the room had a lot to do with what level you were at.
Why didn't you fight hard for the mixer, Rick?
What did the mixer ever do
I
to
know.
you?
I was like, where the fuck's the mixer? I came in. I was
Just
like,
rolled
what happened?
over,
Like, this is what I do.
wrapped it up, and put a bow on it. Handed it to him. Please take it from me. I don't deserve it.
Well, we have the
Red
mixer
Dawn.
here to say a few
and
words
we-
about that.
Yeah, it was pitched to me as a good thing. This way you won't have the DJs messing with your equipment, because we were coming in every day and everything was all different.
Oh yeah, well they managed to spill their drink on one of our DVD players when we were near the end. We lost it. We went down a DVD player.
Yeah, I
Somebody
mean, how many
spilled it.
times there were times when we couldn't get the system on because there was some switch thrown in the black of one of the mixers, or a DJ had unplugged and replugged the lines, and it was like, hey, this way it's just consistent back there, and we can play around with volumes as we need them.
Too
These
many
don't
used
sound like-
napkins.
They don't use napkins.
What were they used for?
In this day and age, the image of used napkins littering an area as small as that tech booth, it strikes fear deep into my heart. The germs on those things.
Well, I guess you haven't been around enough drugs, Danny.
Or around enough Hong Kongs.
I have been around 4 drugs my entire life.
Which 4 drugs?
God, the Bible,
Of course. Okay,
church,
yep.
and my family. Oh, and my mistress. So 5.
Okay.
These don't sound like courteous DJs, I have to say. But it doesn't sound like they cultivated a very safe, friendly environment.
Well, and they were always different DJs. So your DJ on Friday night would be different than the DJ on Saturday, which would be different than the DJ for a private party.
And then we had DJ Hazard.
We had DJ Hazard, who was the meanest DJ of them all.
Did you
Who's the
ever
best
try?
DJ?
Did you ever try and
This
ask
was Forrest Beard.
if they would let DJ Hazard DJ one night instead? They'd be like, we have a DJ.
No, but we have a DJ.
What would he play?
I would love
the
to see
question.
it.
I figured early on that we did not want to have anything to do with the dance club.
Why is that?
The dance club was they used the room after we did,
Mhm.
and it was notorious within the entire area. It was
For what?
there was a lot
Harvard Business School.
of drinking and a lot of unsavory types, and a lot of I mean, it's basically where you go when you say, hey, let's just get completely shit-faced and blasted. Bryan Cranston of Breaking Bad fame went up there while he was at the ART and got so drunk he puked and then slipped in it.
Is that on our Instagram? Is that one of? Is that next to the picture of David Spade? Just Bryan
He just
Cranston
then
shit
slipped in
face.
it like he's a fucking cartoon.
I still
Oh.
think he should play Phil Hartman in the Phil Hartman story. I've thought that for 15 years.
They do look alike.
And Bryan Cranston's a great actor.
Of course he is.
That was one of the lines I always used to do about being at the Hong Kong. Is that one of the nice things is that no matter who the president is, he has puked in that bathroom over there. Because they've all gone to Harvard in one way or another.
Yeah.
And if you go to Harvard, you're gonna throw up a scorpion bowl on that 3rd floor at some point.
My
Except for
favorite.
our current president, who was top of his class at Wharton.
He only throws up in Morton Steakhouses.
Yes.
Top of his class.
Was this while when you saw Bryan Cranston make an absolute disaster of himself? And of course, all of this is alleged. Was this while he was playing Walter White, or was this in the Malcolm in the Middle days?
This was, I think, like season 2
Okay.
of Breaking Bad, because it was
Oh.
just so everyone knew
right
him
as-
as the father from Malcolm in the Middle.
Uh-huh.
But if you were really hip and knew stuff, you were like, oh, he's on this new series that's supposed to be really good.
Okay.
It was a side series called Breaking Bad Chinese Food.
He'll yes. He'll always be hell to me. Who's the most famous person, Rick, that you've seen make an absolute disaster / ass out of himself at the Hong Kong? And Bryan
Mm.
Cranston doesn't count, allegedly, because you already said it. I don't want Bryan Cranston's
Yeah.
lawyers to come have
We
a
love you,
question.
Brian.
That's all I've got left.
That's a hard question to answer. I can see Rick trying to get to
Yeah.
this without naming names.
Maybe,
Rick
maybe
doesn't
I'd go
care.
with. I didn't see the heir to the Dr. Scholl's fortune stood up on the bar and peed. I did not see that. Barbara Bush would
Is
probably.
that why their shoes are so squishy? Their insoles?
Squish, squish.
Barbara Bush was
Barbara-
dating one of the heirs to the R.J.R. Reynolds tobacco fortune, and she insisted on lighting up at the bar, even though it was illegal in Massachusetts, and told age, "You know who I am," kind of thing.
This is Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush is the daughter.
Yeah.
Of W.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, would be Junior if that were a thing
that-
for women.
Well, her mom's name is Laura, right? Her grandma's Barbara.
Right. Exactly.
sister is Jenna, which prompted one of my favorite New York Post headlines back when Bush started and they were going out partying all the time, and the headline was Jenna and Tonic.
I was thinking it was going to be
love-
something like
I love that.
Jenna shows her bush or something like that. Knowing the New York Post,
No,
I'm
no,
not
that-
saying I would ever say that. That's misogynistic and gross. But the Post would not hesitate to.
The New York Post, well, yeah, they're pretty much yellow press.
A lot of famous people come through that Hong Kong, Rick? You miss it?
Oh yeah.
Cultural hub,
Yeah.
where all the high art takes place, and all the upstanding citizens of the world congregate.
I mean, I miss it now because I don't have my own place, but
Because of
you
the
know,
pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, looking back, there were a lot of good parts to it. By the time we finished, yeah, I was sort of tired of all the little things and wanted to do something bigger. But
Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of
Yeah.
politics at the end.
I was there 20 years. You know, it's like looking back on on your parents or your upbringing or something. There was a lot of good times and bad times.
I mean, like, structurally, it was a cool place. Restaurant, 1 floor. Bar, 2nd floor. Performance venue, 3rd floor. And structurally, that's awesome, but...
It's funny that you would say
Wait.
structurally twice when the floor sags from the 3rd floor into the 2nd floor.
And you can
You
Ceiling's
can
a little
see the
high.
floor literally sagging down and it's bound to collapse. It's just funny you said the word structurally. I mean,
idealistically.
Yeah.
Idealistically.
The ceiling was high, but it wasn't. It worked for that
Yeah.
place.
And I mean,
Which
it's
is neat.
also interesting that when people come back or they talk about the place, that's one of the first things they bring up. Maria Bamford was like, "Oh, that place in the Chinese restaurant, I love that place." I mean, there were so many quirky, not great, there were so many little faults and everything that it really developed a character. That was one of the big things when we started developing our own place that I told Ben, our contractor, is like, I don't want it to be too nice. I want people to still feel
Rip the walls a
that
little
they're,
bit. Pour a
that
little
they're coming
sugar
to
on
a
the
comedy
floor.
club, not coming to a nice theater.
Yeah.
That's why I was glad when I installed our fire extinguisher in the wrong place 2 times. That's why, in any other situation, I would have been mortified that I left 2 sets of 3 nail wounds in the wall right next to each other. But since it was a comedy club that was meant to look dinged up, ding-hoed up,
My
I was happy.
my favorite thing was my dad sent me a video from a documentary on Hulu, and it was
Ah.
shot at the Hong Kong because it was apparently every year they have a black mass satanic
Mhm.
gathering
Yeah.
at the
Oh,
Hong
yeah.
Kong.
Oh yeah.
And it was like somehow I think they mentioned not the comedy studio by name, but they mentioned the comedy club on the 3rd floor in that documentary. But it's just like it was like a video, and at the same time I follow Martin, the security guy on Instagram, and he was like at the time he was actually filming live that satanic gathering. He was like talking to one of the guys. He filmed the other security guy like talking to a guy dressed in full satanic getup, just having a conversation in the hallway. And then he
Oh, I'm
pointed
so
back to
sorry.
like the dance floor of just like somebody naked acting as a table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't. Oh.
No, I
I-
remember when it was in the news. I didn't know it was an annual thing. I remember
I
it
wasn't there
happened-
that night. Oh.
We know this was after we were gone.
No, the
What happened before?
it was done. Yeah, that's a recreation because it's part of a Harvard comparative religions class. So each year they do it as we go to a Catholic mass, we go to a temple, we go to a satanic mass, and they've been doing the satanic mass at the Hong Kong since that first year we were there.
I guess that's good money.
So I didn't know that. And if I had, I would have stayed away as a God-fearing man.
Repent.
Did you ever see it?
Why is it God fearing? What?
Because he's scary. He could smite us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Uh,
I
I
shouted
was
over.
not
A lot of
there. Rick was
Christians
there.
fear God for his almighty power.
Rick, did you
Yeah,
ever
that's
see the Black Mass?
No, because it was on a Monday.
Oh, I thought you were
Ah.
there. Oh, forgive me.
Of course,
Yeah,
the darkest
no,
day.
We got
yeah,
that
nobody
information.
was. Yeah, there was nobody in the bar, and the Harvard students were supposed to do the Black Mass at some place down the street, and they got canceled when there was no. Oh, we didn't realize it was Satan. No, you're not allowed here.
Cancel
And
culture.
two students went to the Hong Kong and said, "Well, this place is empty." And the bartender was like, "Yeah," and they were like, we could get like 50, 60 people here if you let us do our little thing." And she's like, "Yeah,
Our
sure."
little shindig.
And they made a
Bring
call,
on
and all
Satan.
the entire class reassembled, and they they brought out their golden calf and turned off the TV, and the whole thing took about 12, 15 minutes.
12,
and
15 minutes for mass? I might convert. That's not long enough. These
And they
Catholic
did-
masses are way too long.
and they tipped very well.
Oh, good. I think Satanists truly do get a bad rap. That I wasn't alive for when this happened, but I've read about the Satanic Panic. Most Satanists don't actually believe that Satan is real. There are some theistic Satans, but the Church of Satan that was founded by Anton LaVey they're all atheists. They're using Satan as a metaphor for like individualism and like self-ideation.
Right. It's like witches or paganism. It's like when you
Well,
look.
that
into
shit's
the
real.
Bible,
You don't mess with witches and pagans. But
I actually know a lot
Satanists.
of witches and pagans.
Do you, Eli?
Yeah. I mean, I know a bunch
Yeah.
from Memphis, and there's a couple of comics in Austin, in Boston that also.
And now, are they theistic Wiccans?
What is
Or-
that? Like they believe in God, or?
Or like they
even
like
a
they
god, yeah.
believe it's true.
Yeah. I mean, the people I know actually like follow they treat it seriously. Not like they don't get angry at you if you don't, but
Mm-hmm.
they just follow it spiritually.
Do they do their masses naked? I've heard Satanists do that.
I haven't seen them do masses. They just post about like different rituals
Yeah,
that you can
there is
personally
some
do.
because a lot of Wiccan is based on nature worship and such.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it would make sense that some ceremonies would be out in nature, unnatural.
You guys seen that movie, the Vivitch?
I have. I love it.
No,
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie, and it ends with like satanic Wiccan naked ceremony. So, just
Yeah,
wondering.
It's pretty crazy.
was everyone here brought up religious?
I
Jewish?
was. Yes.
Raised Catholic.
So we got 3 Catholics and Eli the Jewish guy.
I gotta
Eli
say,
the Jewish guy.
from what I've heard about the Catholic experience, Jewish seems the way to go.
Oh, you drew the
Yeah.
long straw, my friend. The 3 of us shared one short straw that we.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, it's pretty great.
That shit will stick with you. Oh my goodness, that stuff still.
I'll tell you this, Eli.
back in your brain.
Us Catholics, our gyms did not have full delis in them.
The Memphis Jewish Community Center, the Memphis JCC, is a fantastic establishment.
Yeah,
The deli there is top quality Memphis deli.
a full deli.
There is a
It's
full deli
astounding.
in the Jewish Community Center.
We would have on Sundays. Sometimes we'd have pancake breakfasts to encourage more people to come to church, and then on Fridays during Lent, the first Friday, Good Friday, on Ash Wednesday, the church would do a big fish fry because you're not allowed to eat meat, and then every other Friday
fish
after that,
not-
they'd have like a free fish isn't meat. Haven't you read the Bible?
Pizza Friday.
They'd have it would be like peanut butter jelly sandwich and like minestrone soup Fridays.
Mm.
And then all do the Stations of the Cross.
I went to
God.
CCD, that Saturday morning thing that you do when you're Catholic and you miss the cartoons and all that stuff. And I gotta tell you, our church was like in the basement of the Catholic school, so it was very dark and dank. And I gotta tell you, I remember all of that in black and white. That's how dark I found the Catholic experience. I remember it in black and white, and I mean, I know that I'm 47, but things weren't really black and white.
You went to CCD, huh?
Yeah,
Lucky
every Saturday
bastard.
morning. I miss my Looney Tunes, man.
Yeah, well, at least you didn't have to go to Catholic school 5 days a week.
That was the constant threat from Mom.
Oh, really? But she would send you
Oh.
to Catholic school if you didn't
Oh.
get your act together?
Oh, I was hyperactive. This was before they knew anything about depression in the 70s and 80s. So like that
They
was
beat
always the
that right
threat,
out of you.
like,
I only had to
we'll
go
send you
to-
Catholic school.
I only had to go to Jewish school after regular school on Wednesdays, and then again on Sunday.
Well, you have to practice and learn for your bar mitzvah, right?
Yeah, I did that, and then after my bar mitzvah and like a little bit into high school, I just told my mom that I didn't want to go anymore, and she was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, is
so-
that done like a class? Like you have to learn Hebrew, or
Oh yeah, we just went to
memorize
class. Well, for studying for your bar mitzvah, you get tutored directly by the kaplan or the cantor. In this case, it was Cantor Kaplan. There's a lot of Kaplans in Judaism.
And then is that tutoring? Is that tutoring like learning what you're saying, or
So you
memorizing
pick a
it?
specific. You get assigned a specific portion of the Torah, and then a different portion of the half Torah. So you have to learn both, and you have to do them both in Hebrew, and then repeat them in English. And you also have to do them in a sort of rhythmic chant. So you have to get the rhythm down and like the beats and everything with the cantor.
Did someone try to rap their Torah
Sick
reading?
beats.
Somebody must have.
Well, my name's Eli, and I'm here to say it's fun to read the Torah in a Jewish way.
We had to do it like a Will Smith rap.
Yeah.
I've never known what's a half Torah.
It's just it's a different
Unit
book.
of measurement.
It's a different set of scrolls.
Oh.
So there's the Torah and then there's the half Torah. It's not half like HALF, it's half like HAF. I could be wrong, but I know it's not
would
half.
the Old Testament be included? Where's
The
that
Old
fall?
Testament is the Torah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the Torah.
So the half Torah would be almost like Acts.
It should be reiterated that in high school I did tell my mom I did not want to go anymore, so my knowledge is very...
Yeah,
You are not talking to an expert right now, just so you
Okay.
know.
She honored and respected your wishes to not go to Jewish school.
To want to play video games on Sunday, yeah.
Wow. That is just a completely different world. If I had told my mom that, my parents took me, and God love my parents. They're all Trump supporters. I got 4 of them because I got step parents too. My mom and my stepdad would drag us to 7 a.m. mass on Saturday.
Oh, my parents didn't want to go to that.
Oh.
That's like,
Usually
we could have
mass-
gone, but no.
Mass typically is at 9 a.m. in most places on Saturdays, but they offer an early service.
Oh,
They took us to 7 a.m. mass, and then I guess incorporated none of that shit when deciding who to back politically.
just you and the bird watchers.
My
I mean,
family and friends didn't want to
What
go
the
to
fuck
anything
are we doing
unless
that
it
for?
involved
If you're
food
gonna
at the
vote
end.
for Trump after all those years, but I'm sorry, Eli. What were you saying about?
It's
your
just
nice
we
life?
wouldn't want to go to anything just as a family or like our friends of our family. We wouldn't want to go anything unless there was food like afterwards, like good food.
We would go to IHOP sometimes.
That's
Religion
not.
and food.
Come on.
IHOP in Oklahoma, in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's pretty.
I
good.
guess it's that or Waffle House, right?
Yeah,
There's no
Waffle
local
House.
diners?
Waffle House. No, not that. No, there weren't. Not,
There's no-
Edmond is a
really?
very chain-heavy town.
Yeah.
That sucks. With
Like
like all the
everywhere,
local breakfast restaurants in Memphis are so good.
I grew up with good taste.
Oh, I mean, you know.
My parents gave me a rich cultural experience that involved something beyond chain restaurants.
Bacon, egg, and cheese on a biscuit, cheese grits on the side.
Rick, what time would you go to mass?
All that great culture there in Tennessee.
It's better culture than in Oklahoma. I'll tell you that much.
I mean,
I grew up in Connecticut. I mean, so I can't help either.
Yeah, what comes from Connecticut? What's Connecticut known for?
there is something to be
I-
said for sacrificing your entire culture for good food. That is Tennessee's motto.
Connecticut, basically, the part that sticks out near New York City, extremely rich. And
Right.
I grew up in the very, very, very top of that area. So we were middle class, and then it got rural kind of past my town.
Okay.
And Connecticut, I mean, mostly aside from New Haven and Hartford, it's fairly rural. I mean, a lot of trees, a lot of guys with pickup trucks, gun racks, dogs in the back of the truck. I mean, there's a lot of that up there too. People think of Connecticut.
I also
as
saw
like,
that
you
in
know,
Southie,
rich,
to be honest, though.
which it is.
So
but-
so Tennessee has Nashville. Oklahoma City has the Murrah building bombing getting blown up by Timothy McVeigh. Buffalo has that guy getting pushed over by the police. What does Connecticut have? What's the one thing that Connecticut, that everyone knows Connecticut for?
Well, I was near Danbury, Connecticut, which is
Okay.
probably the third most popular. I don't know, whatever, something like that. And Danbury, Connecticut, was the home of one of the biggest hat makers in the country. It was called Hat City, and
Okay.
there were these people later on. I came to meet when I was in a band. There was this guy called the Pointing Guy. He would come to all the shows and stand up front and point at the band as you were playing, just point at you. And I was like, "Who's that guy?" And someone had to explain to me, "Oh, he's a Mad Hatter." And I'm like, well, what's that?
Oh gosh.
And
okay.
when they were making hats, they used to use mercury to stiffen the brim of the hat. Now, they
Ah.
didn't know back then what mercury did. We know now mercury makes you crazy.
Hmm?
And so this guy was one of the last Mad Hatters.
We
and
say
he used to come and-
mercurial
He
nowadays.
used to
Crazy
come
is
and just
outdated.
point. I'm sorry.
We say mercurial instead of crazy nowadays. It's sort of outdated language.
Well, I'm crazy, so I can say it.
Mercury challenged.
All right, so you're
But
known
anyway.
for nuclear radiation hats.
Yeah, well, that also, when Kennedy was elected president, it ruined everything. Because Kennedy was the first president not to really be wearing a hat in public.
Oh, you think that's why they shot him? You think
Gave-
if he'd been wearing a hat, he could have like
Gave him a better
hat
angle.
I'll put something on your head. That's what they
Yeah,
said.
no, you're talking his inauguration. It was like 3 degrees out, and he still made a point of not wearing a hat as they marched down the center of the street to show the difference between the new generation coming in.
Exactly.
Huh.
And that's when basically that's where you can trace people stopped wearing hats. Yeah, men. Every man wore a hat when you look back at all those old photographs.
Oh, yeah. Suits,
Every
hats
man's
everywhere.
So many sad men having to
Kennedy
put their
changed
hats
all that.
down.
It was like the Beatles and long hair.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
Very clear demarcation.
You know,
That's where I'm from.
my actual hometown, Edmond. You know, I made the joke, of course, about the federal building bombing, and that's poor taste. But my actual hometown, Edmond, they're most known for two things: Shannon Miller, the gymnast who went to the Olympics, and Edmond, Oklahoma, is the first place where going postal happened.
Oh,
Where a
God.
guy shot up the post office. That was
The
in my
90s trend.
hometown, and yeah, I think it might have been the '80s, and Edmond was the first
early.
place.
Early. Okay, that was a big '90s thing too.
Well,
I remember.
you know
We set
Memphis.
the
You know what
trend.
Memphis is famous for, right?
What?
Where Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, that was
Before
pretty bad.
1968. Not a good day.
That's pretty bad.
What about you, Rick? Who got assassinated in your hometown?
William McKinley.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
President William McKinley was assassinated, and Teddy Roosevelt was. They made him. They made him the vice president to get rid of him because he was such a troublemaker, and they figured out make him vice president, and then that way nothing will happen. And then a quote unquote anarchist shot McKinley while he was in Buffalo for the Panamanian Exposition, and Roosevelt took the train up to Buffalo and was sworn in as president and started busting trusts.
So you said quote unquote anarchist, which leads me to believe that you think Roosevelt had something to do with McKinley's assassination.
No, it's just for the longest time, maybe 100 years. That's less. That's how the man was described. It was like a disgruntled employee. He was a disgruntled anarchist.
Not like that's the fake excuse that they gave to absolve. I see.
I don't think there was a lot of looking into the actual philosophy of anarchism.
We come from some fucked up places, guys.
Yeah.
Your state.
I couldn't control where my parents went.
Your town, Rick, created the grossest way to eat chicken. That's that's gotta be something.
Can you guys explain to me what this is about? When I lived in South Boston junior year, I saw like a bunch of like red pickup trucks waving the Confederate flag in South Boston, Massachusetts.
I saw
The fuck
when
is
I was
that?
growing up, Connecticut.
It could be that Boston has some pockets of racism.
But like, do they know where they are?
Well, especially South Boston, you've got a lot of because of busing. Basically, busing was the court said, "Hey, you can't go to the schools are not equal, and the way to solve that is to get kids to have a mix. So kids who were from South Boston were then put on buses and gone to other neighborhoods, and kids from other neighborhoods were brought in to bring about racial equality." And South Boston is very famous for riots and such, of being very against that, and as a method. So the racism of South Boston is very pronounced. And
they
obvious.
couldn't find a better way to express their racism other than the Confederate flag.
No, Boston's got an issue. I mean, I was reading. I'm a big baseball fan, and like, there's so many black players that have no trade contact. They will not be traded to Boston. It's in their contract because they just can't stand playing here. People like Torrey Hunter and a bunch of other people called the N-word several times while they're just playing center field. You know, they're just like, "Yeah, I had a great night, thanks." Like after the game, you know, and it seems to be unanimous amongst the black players in the league. They're just like, Boston, no good. But it's too bad. It's sad because I'm a fan, and it's just, you know, not all the fans are like that, but you get lumped in.
Well, we should make it this podcast mission to eradicate racism but only in Boston.
We have
The
20
rest
minutes.
of the country is on. Yes, we have 20 minutes. Because it's going to be a short one today. Although I'm having fun, I got to say. Here's the thing. Usually with these podcasts, I have a great time talking to my friends, Eli and Rick. And then we bring in a guest who's very good and funny, but who I feel intimidated talking to. And so that the podcast stops being as fun for me. No, but that's why you're on this week, Brett.
I should start putting in a graphic next to your name that is your intimidation meter when the guest
I'm
comes
talking
in.
about your Shane Mosses, your Christian Finnegans, your basically anyone else we've had on the show who's not part of the family. I just get nervous talking to them because I want to look good in front of them. But you three,
You're very good at it, Danny. You never
please,
seem
please.
phased. You're a fantastic host.
Oh, please stop.
Take the compliment.
It's because he knows he can mute anyone
Please
anytime.
stop, Eli. Shut up, Eli. Shut it.
Make
Brett,
me.
please stop, please.
Just
Rick, let's see
wonderful.
those notes.
Let's turn into the superlative king like Trump.
Yes. Praise me. What do we got, Rick? Let's see those notes.
Unlike anything you've ever seen.
Oh.
Anyways.
We were talking religion. As we all know, one of Martin Luther's big problems with the Catholic Church was idolatry, and that's why Catholics are the only ones who actually have statues to the saints. Statue because of images of others, and the thinking is that by focusing on that, you're taking away from the ultimate, which is God, and that made me wonder what we think of the whole controversy with statues now. Is it not only these statues, the statues of Confederate people are bad, but all statues in general, because you're worshiping a human who is basically has to be flawed. And so you're not seeing the ideal because you've got the statue in between you.
Not every statue is worship or religious.
I think we should take every statue on the planet, round them all up in one place, stack them on top of each other. We build a tower that we can climb up to heaven.
The Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
That
Well,
always
that's a good
works
name,
out.
Eli. I like that. Has
That,
been
that
used before?
always works out. There are no
Did
paintings or
you just-
scriptures of that going horribly wrong.
Good. I'm glad you said that.
And that is
I
the
wanted to give it
origin.
a shot.
Thank you, high school humanities class.
That is the origin of Stairway to Heaven by Lev Zeppelin.
I mean, my church, we had a big, huge, it was a pretty ornate Catholic church. We had a big, right in the middle of the altar, basically, kind of behind the podium, but like on display in the altar, big statue of Muhammad.
A statue of your cat.
He's trying to stop me from saying that.
Notice she kept her ass in the screen just a little longer. Cats love to do that.
For our podcast listeners, my cat very slowly walked across the screen and showed everyone her cute little cat butt. But no, worshiping statues. Who cares?
Oh, I saw something. Somebody desecrated one statue locally. I think it was a Christian-oriented one. And they're like, how could this happen? This and that, whatever. And I just learned, like the other day, that the Catholic Church got $1.4 billion in COVID relief. And they're using a lot of that money to settle a lot of their cases. And I was like, maybe this is why somebody did that.
Which cases could you be referring to? It's a Catholic church. I can't imagine they would have any cases against them.
Something about little boys and doing things inappropriately.
What, like
it's the Catholic Church.
What, like sinning? Like maybe they said a bad word. These little boys. What are you?
They helped too many little boys achieve too many dreams. That's what the problem with the Catholic Church is.
I see. Well, we're shining a spotlight on that. You guys seen that movie Spotlight?
I have.
Not.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I've seen it like 5 times. Even
Really?
Sad, what's fucked up. It's a good. I like journalism movies a lot, and it's just a real good journalism movie. I'm not watching it because I think it's good what happened.
I wonder what's
The
gonna.
Spotlight work was good.
I just imagine you watching it like a 6th time, like I wonder how it's gonna turn out.
For most of it, yeah, it's a real nail biter. For most of it, it's not super disturbing. There are some scenes where they talk to the victim. Like there's a scene where like they're talking to one of the victims, and it is really disturbing. But most of it is just like a really good investigative journalism movie, and you see these people care about this thing, and the system is trying to protect the church, and I liked it a lot.
I was talking to my roommate about it.
No, that basically that whole story was put on hold. What was it, Danny? 3-4 years because of 9/11.
9/11, and that's in the movie. Yes, Mark
Ruffalo had the whole story ready to go, and then went like, nope, stop the presses.
Yep, it's a great scene where Mark Ruffalo's coming to work, and everyone's like gathered around the one television screen in the office or whatever in a newsroom, And he's like, "What happened?" And they're like, "9/11 happened." Yeah, I had to wait. I don't know. Was it 3 or 4 years? I feel like it was 2002 when the story broke. But I could be
Well,
wrong.
that would
Maybe it
be
was
2
03.
years, right?
What's that?
That would be 2 years, right?
Well,
Well, if it
happened
was
at the end of
2002, it would be 1 year.
2001.
But we don't have to.
9/11.
Yes. What year was it? I always forget.
I think it was 01.
What, 9/11?
It was 01.
Yeah, it was 01. Wow, you should. Everyone should.
Yes, we
Never.
should all know that.
What day was Kennedy assassinated? Come on.
I know that. It's the name of my favorite Stephen King book.
September 11th,
Misery Day.
2001. Right?
Do you know it?
It's 11/22/63.
Okay.
How could we not? My birthday is 11/23/91, so I've always felt connected to Kennedy in that way because some numbers in our birth date and death date lined up. Maybe I'm Kennedy reincarnated, but late. You know, like I'm the Avatar, and Kennedy was too.
He came to Boston to get the accent.
Yeah. Yeah. How's my Boston accent?
Great.
Oh shit.
Great. I once heard it not referred to an accent, but a region of people who do not know how to speak properly.
You know, my grandparents are from my dad grew up in Braintree, and my grandparents still live in the area. They live in Plymouth. And my dad, whenever he would come to visit with us after he'd lost his accent, they'd say, "Richie, you talk funny. You talk funny, Richie."
It's close to the Queen's accent.
Yeah, see, I can't do a good accent. I'm bad at accents.
Yeah,
I can't do any accents or impressions. Rick, what's an impression you can do? Hit us up. Hit us with an impression.
No, I have no. Was not there at all.
All right, Eli's our last hope because we got to have one good impressionist on this show. Hit us with your best impression, Eli.
I can't do impressions, but you gotta you gotta give me a person. You gotta you
John
gotta
F. Kennedy Jr. While he's crashing his plane. Go.
Ah! Done.
No, that was really good. That was kind of eerie, Eli.
Oh,
That's exactly what I
It's a rough
imagined.
one, I'll tell you. Oh,
Oh my God.
Let me tell you.
Who was that?
That was a bad Rodney.
Okay.
Oh, it was a rough one, I'll tell you. Rough one, I'll tell you. Let me
Wait.
tell you.
Here's
My wife came up to me
here's
the other
Rodney
day.
Dangerfield crashing his plane.
Okay.
Oh, it's a rough one, I'll tell you. A rough one.
So, Brett, you're not doing Rodney King. You're doing Rodney Dangerfield.
Yes, on purpose.
Okay. Because it was a really good Rodney King. Terrible Rodney Dangerfield.
Wait, Brett, didn't you tell me earlier that you made a list of things you wanted to talk about?
Oh, let's get to it.
Oh, okay. Let's see what do I have here that would be. Let's see. I have.
I'd love to
I think
have
we might have
something
covered
to
everything
talk
on your list already, but just by happenstance.
Ron DeSantis got heckled yesterday during his press conference. The
about.
governor.
I saw that. The
You guys
Florida
saw that?
governor.
That was
Yeah.
great, and they kept letting the guy heckle, and he said like 5 things, and I think after a while the heckler was like, "Shit, I didn't think I could get that much in. I better go into my toolbox, grab some more shit."
What did he say? Next.
He was just like, just shouting out the truth of the governor. He's just like, you're lying about the statistics, you're lying about the severity, and it wasn't like a White House thing where they would have gotten him out right away. It took like a minute or two. So like he kept heckling, and I thought he was going to run out of stuff to say. But it's always great to see like a lying politician heckle because they don't know, they'd ignore it, think it's going to go away.
All right, that was good, Brett. What else is on your list?
I noticed that in comedy openings, we had recently we had Giggles open,
Yeah.
and we
Yep.
saw their tent.
Their tent. Yeah, we talked about this on the last episode. We can go into it. We saw the tent.
That's
I
where we
saw
first
the
started
tent. I
talking
saw
about
a picture of it, and it scared the hell out of me.
It looked
Looks like a
it. It looks
bouncy
worse on
house.
the inside, to be honest.
Yeah, it looked like it was enclosed for part of it, where I guess where the stage was, and I assume the audience sat in the more open air part of it. But
Yeah. It looked like a bouncy house, man. I hope they do well. I really do.
Yeah, Rob Steen has announced they're doing Saturdays in Manchester,
Who?
Rhode Island. All this stuff is open. Worcester has an open mic starting next week, every week. I'm wondering, you got anybody feeling like a little bit of fear of missing out? Like
No.
all these shows are happening around.
It'll come
I'd
back.
like to hit a mic.
Fucking.
Tell some
Fear
guys
of
to-
missing out. for
I
club or
miss
for
the
your personal
hangout. I just
comedy?
miss hanging out with my friends, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
I miss
mics,
seeing
the
everybody
mics will
tonight.
come back. It's
yeah, but they're all starting to do other stuff.
that's
yeah, but
fine.
in like Worcester and Saugus, not not where
No.
we are yet. We legally can't.
I will say that from what I heard from Bert Kreischer's summation of how his tour went, the drive-in seemed like the way to go for the most safety and the best experience. Like people get to cook out, tailgate, and still like stay socially distant from everybody else and like still get to
Maria
enjoy
Bamford
themselves.
recorded her album at the Rose Bowl.
And also, apparently, when you're watching like from a drive-in, you can also tune into the audio like on FM radio. So it's like if you like
Oh, that's
can't hear
great.
very
So
well,
they
you can
gotta
just listen
come.
through your car. So
That's great.
it seems like everything's covered there. That
Wow.
seems
Go
like
to
the
a
way to
drive-in
go.
theater ever, Eli? Did they have drive-in theaters? Where
There
you
is a
watched growing
drive-in
up?
theater in Memphis near where the Putt Putt mini golf is
Yeah,
on
they usually
Summer
group 'em
Avenue.
together.
I've never
I
been though.
loved it. We had one in Oklahoma City. I loved it as a kid. I haven't been in probably 15 years at this point, but I enjoy it. It's a good time.
It is kind of cool that they're coming back with just because they work with everything going on.
Yep. I don't think we can do comedy at a drive-in though.
No, it
personally.
seems like John Tobin is already doing that.
That's what I hear from you.
Yes.
How do we get him out of the? How do we should trick him. We should say, hey, we got a new drive-in for you to come patronize. And
You
then
just label a different
we-
business as John Tobin
we
Presents, and
kidnap
then he goes there. He's like, oh, I guess I'm presenting over here.
we lock him in. We do the drive-in now. Yes, perfect. I'll tell you what, guys. I'll tell you what. I went to and against my will somewhat, but I went to a restaurant this past weekend.
Oh, yeah? Where'd you go?
It was somewhere in Plymouth. We were visiting my grandparents because Rose and I both tested negative in our coronavirus tests, and they had been wanting to see us safely. And so we get there and we're social distancing, hanging out in the patio, and they go, "Okay, you two finish your beers, and then we'll go to the restaurant." And Rose and I were both like, "Well, wait, what?"
That's what I would have
So it was outdoors. It was in a parking lot, and they'd put up a big tent. It was not enclosed. It just had the top, and it was open air for the rest of it. And I think it was pretty safe, but I'll tell you guys, I did not like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I did not like the experience. I was on edge the whole time.
Yeah, and you're supposed
And I felt like this is not where I should be. But
Outdoor
nice
seating, I
for them
don't
to
mind.
take
It's
us.
indoor seating, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, never.
Yeah.
Never. But
what could they have done to make you comfortable?
oh, it wasn't that I just felt like I was being part of the problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes
Yeah,
sense.
I feel
I
you.
always feel like
Yeah.
going out like that.
And, it was very nice of them to take us, and it was safe, but it was not what we were expecting. And it was an experience. Very windy.
So the servers had masks on.
Service had masks, and we would pull our masks up whenever they came by. But that's you can
They
only,
serve you with plastic gloves or anything like that? Anything else they used that was out of the ordinary?
Not that I can. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Or
I just
contact tracing.
What's that? No, none of that. Nope.
So masks were the only.
how are they doing as a state?
Well, they're in
with the
Plymouth.
pandemic.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
Plymouth.
sorry. I thought you mentioned Oklahoma. Sorry.
No, we did not go to Oklahoma this weekend.
That's right. You went to your girlfriend's.
That'd be crazy. No, we went to my grandparents' place, but that's okay. I'm in my girlfriend's place right now. She
Yes.
makes sure to tell me. No, she says it's our place.
You're in
was
daddy's
fine.
place.
I think it was fine. Part of my fear is that I'm just these next 2 weeks are going to be stressful. I hope my grandparents aren't going to die from this.
Yeah.
It was we were not prepared to eat out, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I guess we're eating out now.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
What'd
It's
you
like
do
those
after
little
eating
scares
out?
you have, at a store where somebody gets too close to you. You're like, or
Mhm.
or something, something else happens
You
that
know,
you
I
do.
feel- I feel pretty good in stores. I get a little skittish, but for the most part, I feel pretty good in stores. And I felt relatively safe at the under the tent. I just felt like I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I have no
this was
desire
like
to do it
in
again.
April. A comic wanted to like hang out, but I was like, we probably can't
Yeah.
do that. But he's like, well, me and just another comic are just riding around in the car. I was like, okay, that doesn't seem so bad. We'll just put the windows down and just talk and hang out. But they ended up driving us to a Target, like way out of the way, so I couldn't like walk back home. He was like, let's just go walk around the Target. I was like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. But like, we didn't really have much choice at that point, so I just put we put our masks on. But it literally felt like we were betraying the country, walking around this Target for fun. I felt so bad, but I will say I was laughing so hard at how bad we felt.
Sure, and that's a lot of droplets you're expelling with that laughter. Did you buy anything?
I bought like bulk hand soap just to feel like I did
Alright.
something, and like and alcohol and rubbing alcohol.
Rubbing alcohol.
But like just I was just we were like talking about just all the things that we could say that are horrible that wouldn't be as bad as doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, it's good you bought hand soap at least. That's sort of.
I tried to just put something on the list.
Yeah.
I'm guessing these are not comics who are doing the backyard shows, or are they?
They are.
Oh.
Backyard shows. What do
We're
you
not
think?
running them, but they're
What-
going to them.
Are they safe? Are they good? Backyard shows, rooftop shows.
I don't know, to be honest. I'm not. I don't plan on going to those.
Oh yeah, no. But I wouldn't have if they were safe.
I got a thing to ask you guys what you think.
Hit me, baby.
I've seen something on the Boston Comedian page. I don't know the person's name. I wouldn't mention anyways, but they were talking about a venue that they used to have an open mic at, and now they can't
I know what you're
do
talking
the
about
open mic anymore. And then they're proposing like this thing where comics would pay $5.
What I commented, and this is how another open mic in Dorchester run works, that I personally love that system, is that instead of paying for entry, instead what you do to encourage people to buy stuff at the bar is you give people a low like set amount, like 3 minutes, and if you buy literally anything at the bar, soda or food or drink or whatever, you get 6 minutes instead. So that pretty much it guarantees everyone's going to buy something to get the 6 minutes instead of the 3 minutes.
Right, I get that. Just the whole pay to play. It reminds me of like the Los Angeles metal scene in the late '80s.
Apparently, that's what LA and New York does all the time now. But
really,
I don't like it.
They did it when I was there, but I mostly did it at the Creek, where almost everything was free.
Right.
I mean, just buy a beer.
Well, that's the difficulty is if you have a system where it's maybe you buy something, maybe you don't. Then the bar is saying, "Hey, we need to make at least $100."
Oh, that does
Even
actually
up to
remind
the
me of something
comic
that I want to
spend
bring
an
up in a
extra
second.
$5 for the stage time. You don't know they're gonna make that much, so the bar's not gonna go for that.
That is something that I do want to talk about actually. During my call with our bar manager, she mentioned that when we are able to do outdoor or indoor shows, because of our low capacity, they'll have to make up the difference by having item minimums. What do you think about that? Yeah. I think it makes sense.
No.
No, even although we have to do half capacity, low capacity.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, then I wouldn't do a show.
Yeah, but we charge low ticket prices. So
if the comedians are your product and your income, what the hell are you doing?
Well, I mean, we have two separate businesses now that have two separate sets of employees to pay.
Well, we don't. We have one.
Yes, I know, but the bar does have to pay their staff and actually make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the bar is a little more money oriented than the club.
And if we're only doing 30 people or 25 people, it doesn't make sense that they have to have an item minimum.
So you're looking at you have to spend at least two items would be what?
$15.
$9?
$15.
$15. Well, I mean, you know the price of the
So
variety
it's
bars
$15
cocktails.
$15 to do a spot on a.
No, not for the comics. No, for the customers. For the customers.
I don't believe that's legal.
What do you mean?
Not with drinks.
No, food.
Right.
Item, not alcohol.
But the bar
Yeah,
serves
but
like
you
ramen
can-
noodles and oatmeal cream pies. You've got to.
Yeah, I don't think you can get away with it if you either have to buy an $8 bag of chips or a drink.
A $10 cocktail and a $5 bag of chips.
You can't say that you have to. You can't say that you have to buy alcohol to come here. That there's an amount of
Really?
alcohol that isn't. Yeah.
Well,
In
they also have
Massachusetts, it's
mocktails,
illegal.
I guess.
That's why we can't have happy hour specials.
Huh. Well, that's what she was telling me about. So,
$5.
Well, this is a conversation that we'll have to have
yeah,
in more detail.
Yeah.
she was kind of
Good
like
food for thought.
she was kind of like no deal of it unless we can guarantee that we get a certain amount of money. So
No deal that they would serve during the show.
that we could have a show outside.
Well,
So we could have a show whether they're serving or not.
Mm,
Yeah, but we can't do a BYOB, can we?
no.
no, absolutely
No.
not.
Okay, you need a license for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's too bad.
I guess Guess we'll have to
Well,
talk
we'll have
about
to
it.
see what happens. I don't know.
Look at this palace intrigue our listeners are getting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're coming down to. A lot of the. Are we a big business? Now we're a big business. We're not just sneaking in and doing a show without any overhead at the Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I mean, I understand that there's like
yeah.
cost to cover.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'd rather not do a show than, be something that's, we've got to take advantage of the comics.
No, I don't want to take advantage of the comics, but
Well, you want them to pay for.
no, not the comics. I'm talking about the
Customers.
customers. The customers.
Audience members.
Yeah.
Audience.
Audience members.
I don't see. Yeah.
I
don't see
totally
why
think
that
it
would
makes
be-
sense that if a venue has
Yeah.
cost
So
to
for
cover, that it,
comedy, how many people do you think would be?
I wouldn't
coming to the
charge
audience
minimums
knowing
for
that they
I
have
wouldn't charge
$20,
minimums for comedy
$50?
hell. I mean, like during a regular show.
Well, either way, I can't imagine us putting on shows inside the club
Not anytime soon, right now.
for the remainder of the year, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
And even outdoor shows, who knows? But you know what we are doing in the meantime? Online streaming shows. We got
Yeah.
another one this Saturday.
No minimums there.
Right.
No, I
Great
don't-
No minimums there.
Our overhead is very low. Yeah, we do have a great lineup, Brett, don't we? Who do we got on that lineup?
We have Jordan Jensen. We have Dan Bulger.
Dan Bulger.
We have Wendy
Boston?
Liebman.
Wendy Liebman.
Wendy Liebman. We have yes.
From The Tonight Show?
Yes. And who else? We have Samantha Ruddy
Sam Ruddy, very funny comic.
and Rohan Padye. I hope I pronounced his last name
He has
correctly.
a very funny Radiohead joke.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
you'll
yeah,
get to
he
see him
does.
do it if you tune in.
and that is the show, but it's great.
He and I are the only two without major national credits on that show.
You and Rohan?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Well, you were on HBO, Rick.
Yeah, Samantha's got her album coming out. Oh yeah, which reminded a lot of talk about Emmy nomination for Goldman.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
the Great
thinking that
Depression.
the second I saw the special. Yeah. I hope he gets it. That'd be amazing.
I'll be putting up links in the newsletter, but yeah, a lot of places are doing stories on him and Apatow to try and promote the voting.
Yeah, that I think it's worthy. I mean, that's such a powerful special. In fact, I talked about before how he didn't drink. Part of that partly got me to go and do that because he was talking about mental health so much that yeah, the next day I kind of, well, we won't discuss all that, but I came out the other side and I stopped drinking.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure Gary would love to hear that.
I know, I meant to actually message him and tell him and thank him. And then I just was like, oh, Gary's a busy guy.
His birthday's coming up, isn't it?
Did it already come? Or
I don't know exactly what it is.
Well, maybe that would be a nice birthday present.
Yeah.
For you to tell him.
50th, so.
Yeah,
So
she probably.
that's, we got all those great folks. Gary's not on the show, but everyone else is that we talked about. They're all on the show. It's this Saturday at 8 p.m. on our website. You can get tickets through our website, and we'd love to see you there because this will be our primary way to bring in money for the foreseeable future. So
yeah.
please buy a ticket. They're fun times. I love them. My girlfriend loves them. My girlfriend's friends' parents love them. So, get thee to a nunnery and buy your tickets.
Or just give us money.
Or just give us money.
We have merch for sale.
We
Yeah.
do. Tell us about that, Eli.
We
Yes.
have merch for sale. Check out our website, comedystudio.com. You'll see a tab for merch.
Thecomedystudio.com and then slash a tab for merch, right?
Slash comedy slash studio slash merch.
It'll be on our website.
It's easier to
Got
just
that
go to
going?
the. You can find
You got
the
that triple slash?
You can find the link on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our website.
That's all great. Well, hey fellas, we're coming up right around an hour. What a perfect way to. Oh, we have to do comedy recommendations.
Oh boy.
Everyone remembers this. I don't have to explain it. Who wants to go first?
Rick?
All right, I'll jump on it. For the local business, it's really more of a reminder than a plug. Is Ace Hardware in Porter Square is so huge you don't realize it walking past it, but it's really got absolutely everything you need. The first floor is like a Bed Bath and Beyond with everything there, and then this bottom floor is a complete hardware store, with everything. So, and then there's the Star Market right next to it. So you don't need to travel all the way out of town to a Target to get what you need.
Also, a lot of places deliver now. Home Depot can also deliver any lumber and tools you need. So if you need a project, just order it, have it delivered.
Yeah, and there's so many comedy recommendations. I literally have half dozen.
So your local business recommendation is Ace Hardware, just to get that.
Ace Hardware in Porter Square, yeah.
Fucking love hardware.
Let's jump with okay, yeah, this is a good one. When Stand Up Stood Out, we've been talking about the Ding Ho reunion show and all that. And Stand Up Stood Out is a documentary about the history of Boston comedy from 1990 to 95 or 85 to 90, somewhere in there. And it's for free on YouTube. You can just call it up and
really?
watch it. It's a little 80-minute movie. And it's, when we talk about giggles or we talk about how shows are structured in Boston or whatever, that's a real good primer to see where it all comes from.
Everybody should see that movie in Boston and then rewatch it every couple of years to relearn. Be like, oh, it's that guy. Because every couple of years I'll watch that and be like, oh yeah, him or her or whatever. So that's a great movie. Yeah.
All right. Well, Brett, what do you got?
What I have, Brian Kiley, who played our show this past Saturday, one of the greatest joke writers I have ever seen in my life, and
Had me laughing.
Yeah, and I don't think he's as much of a national name as he should be because he's been one of the head writers on Conan since basically when they started. But I mean, I believe he does the monologue, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he helps with the monologue for Conan for like the last basically 30 years, and his stuff is just so amazingly tight joke writer, and it's just everything I think a joke writer would want to be, And so I'd recommend checking out more Brian Kiley because he's behind the scenes usually, but check him out.
Great. And do you have a local business that you've been frequenting or that you'd like to give a shout out to in these tough times? Although everything's reopening now, so.
The Comedy Studio.
What an underdog story. I would like to recommend the movie Palm Springs on Hulu. It's Andy Samberg. It's Kristen Melody. It's J.K. Simmons. It's Meredith Hallinger, I think is her name. It's a good time. I really enjoyed it. It's very funny.
Thanks.
It's a good rom-com. And this is exciting for my local business. I'd never been there before, but this past weekend, Rosa took me on a little date to Blanchard's.
Yeah! Hell yeah. Support big liquor. Fuck yeah.
And you know what? It was nice. It was like a liquor supermarket.
The one in Olston?
The one in Alston.
Oh, you went to my home turf.
Great.
Your home turf. And I said, take me to a place where Eli dropped the keg on his foot or whatever.
It hurt a lot.
They said, we legally can't talk about that.
We have a little plaque.
We have a little plaque. They don't sell enough Portuguese beer, and by enough, I mean any, but that's okay.
They should.
Still had a good
Which
time.
one were you looking for?
Sagres or Superbach?
No,
or
not that one.
Quinhas?
Nope.
Which one do they carry?
Don't remember.
Okay.
Never mind.
Well, I did enjoy it. I really did.
It's been a while.
It was a fun place. So that's my
You
local
got me. I got fired.
recommendation. It's Blanchard's in Alston. All right, Eli, take us home.
So for comedy, I have two. One quick one is that they added Spaceballs to Netflix, which is
All the
my
way through.
my second recommendation is for any of the video game lovers out there, Deadly Premonition is a fantastic piece of garbage. It is one of the funniest, charming pieces of shit that I've ever played in my life. Highly recommend it.
How so?
It is a. Let me put it this way: it's a game that looks like it was made in 1994, but was actually made in 2010.
Okay.
And it's a murder.
A lot of like Monica Lewinsky references.
No, it's a murder horror mystery game where you play an FBI agent solving a small town murder. It's a really good story, and the music's really good. However, the voice acting's really good too. However, it's just made in such a ridiculous way that there's so many ridiculous parts of the game that make no sense. The design is so bad that it doesn't make any sense that the game was made in 2010. It was made after GTA, but it looks like it was made before GTA.
Speaking of things being outdated, I guess Monica Lewinsky was more like 98, 99. So I want to revise my joke. Was it full of like Waco references?
It had a lot of old movie references in it. There's parts where you're just driving for no reason. is just they make you drive for some reason, like for very long periods of time, and he just talks to himself about movies he likes.
Talks about daddy daycare all day.
Kinda, yeah. He's just apparently he's just a real film guy.
Theaters.
Schwarzenegger's tour de force.
Let me reiterate that this
was
is
Eddie
a horror game.
I'm sorry. That's right. I was wrong.
This is a horror game.
Had,
There's
Kindergarten Cop.
That's what it was. Him and Danny DeVito.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kindergarten Cop.
Oh. I don't watch a lot of movies, folks. Ask me about music or comedy. I don't.
All right, Eli, what's your local biz rec?
My local business is La Mama's Pizzeria in Austin.
My mom has a pizzeria, and it's here in.
I will happily say that I am a La Mama's boy.
Okay.
You are the mama's boy.
I'm a La Mama's boy. Yeah.
Do they sell shirts that say "I'm a La Mama's boy"?
No, but
Oh, they should.
I wish.
Oh,
Yeah.
they really should.
Oh,
I would
they
wear a
totally
bib
should.
that says that.
A bit.
No, it's great. They sell pizza, they sell Italian food, and they sell Mexican food, and they sell fried chicken.
Great.
Ooh, I'm always suspect
Hot
of a
subs.
place.
That's like one of
kind.
those-
It's all
tacos
good.
at Pizza Hut.
They make a Cubano hot sub that's delicious.
Wow.
Yeah.
They make a quesadilla that's the size of a pizza.
All right.
That is possible.
I will look it up online.
It's very good.
Well, folks, that's gonna do it. Brett, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Welcome
it's been
back
a
to the show.
pleasure. Anytime.
Didn't miss a beat, and we'll talk to you in another 43 episodes.
Sounds about right. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.